Hello, and welcome back to the podcast where you are invited for lighthearted conversations about things that matter as you seek to live your most meaningful, beautiful, and joyful life. I'm your host, Dr. Edie Wadsworth, and I hope you enjoy your stay here at the House of Joy. Well, hey there, dear one. Let's wrap up this very long, informative series on emotions today. I'm so excited about what I have to share today because I feel like it's going to be the perfect ending to what I hope has been a very informative series. This is episode 195. You guys, we're almost to 200 episodes. I can't believe it. And today is all about creating your emotional life on purpose, generating emotional wealth, creating the life you really enjoy, that you really want to be living instead of living in frustration and low level disappointment and often misery. Let's create something different, and you can. And we're going to dive in today. But first, I want to tell you a couple things. I have had, you guys, the most insane week and a half. We got back last Sunday from traveling to Pittsburgh for my daughter Ellie's college graduation. So she is a dancer at Point Park University and has been there for 4 years. She graduated with a fine arts degree in dance. You guys, she's moving to New York City. I can't talk today. She's moving to New York City to pursue her dream of dancing on Broadway. But before she does that, she's actually moving to New Hampshire this summer to do 3 shows at a theater there. She's going to be doing Chicago, Legally Blonde, and one other show. I can't remember. I cannot wait to see those. So my daughter Emmy and Tom and Stevie and I drove up to Pittsburgh. We had the best weekend with her, just celebrating her. And then we drove back and she came with us. So it was a fun little road trip with the girls and Tom. And she was here with us for almost a week. We had such a great week. It was so awesome having the girls here, and it's always so sad when they leave. Tom's like, why do they always have to leave? I'm like, I know, it's so sad. But we had the best time. And then Friday, I kept my grandbabies. I keep them every Friday. Those little angel babies, Elijah and Noah, are seriously everything. So we spent a gorgeous day together on Friday. Stevie almost always comes to, he's off on Fridays. And so he almost always comes to visit us in Knoxville. And so he came and we had a great day. And then yesterday we celebrated Mother's Day early because I'm going to be traveling next weekend with my mom and my siblings and as many of our kids as could come. And it was just, I love my family so much. We played pickleball in the driveway at my sister's house, and we just made different teams, and all of us, older midlife people played, and all the younger people played, and it was so fun. And the babies were running around getting sweaty and dirty as they should. And yeah, so we had the most amazing weekend. So my heart is full this morning. And then I walked into my office, if you're watching this on video, and my little prayer plant, I moved it in this room because it's so gorgeous and it is loving it down here. It is like growing like crazy down here, all kinds of new little leaves. So I'm just so happy this morning to see my little prayer plant flourishing. I also am getting ready to do a webinar today, and I'm excited about that. I'm going to be talking about how to thrive in midlife. And this whole series that we've been doing is really all about that because after coaching thousands of women, I can tell you this, that this is probably the thing that midlife women struggle with most. We have lived so much of our lives as people pleasers, so much of our lives ignoring ourselves, ignoring our own feelings, ignoring our own instincts, trying to be what everybody else, what we think everybody else wants us to be. When the truth of the matter is, everybody just wants us to be ourselves. Why did it take me so long to figure that out? Like, they're served most when I just show up as my authentic self, when I acknowledge myself, when I don't try to ignore myself or my emotions. It really is beneficial to me and everyone around me. The other thing that we do, especially as women in midlife, is as our kids fly the coop and start creating their own lives, we get over invested we like over function in everyone else's life and under function in our own lives. And it makes us miserable and it makes the people around us miserable because I promise you, your 20 something kids don't want you over functioning in their life. Mm. They just want you to love them and support them and encourage them. And that has taken some time too to figure out like, how do I because I genuinely wish they all lived here on a compound with me. I wish I could just live this whole codependent life with them where they were right here with me all the time. But I know that's probably not the healthiest. Although, kids, if you're listening, please come live on a compound with your mother. Um, but I definitely have learned over the past 10 years how to have such a good relationship with myself that it translates to them so that I'm not over functioning in their life, but I'm appropriately just showing up for them, loving them, encouraging them, giving them whatever encouragement, advice they want from me, but also letting them make their own decisions and trusting them with their own lives, trusting them with their own mistakes. I was talking about this yesterday with my siblings, and I'm like, yeah, we forget that we didn't have it figured out then either. And we didn't want our parents always meddling and telling us what to do and all of that. So I'm trying to continue to really work on that. But I think that that is one area where we live so codependently with the people in our lives. I can also remember a time when I did this very much with Stevie, where I would like read the room and I would try to see like how is he doing, and I would try to make that mean something about me. I mean, raise your hand, women, if you haven't done this a million times, where if your spouse is in a bad mood or if they've had a hard day, we would just instantly go to, well, I must have done something wrong. And I have just found so much freedom from stopping that and letting him have a hard day or a frustrating day without making it mean that I did something wrong. And I just get to show up and love him and support him and hold space for his negative emotions when he has them, and I get to do the same for myself without making myself wrong or spending an evening or 3 days or 2 weeks trying to figure out what's going on. I don't do that anymore. I just live my own life, have my own dreams and goals, support the other people in my life in all the ways that feel healthy, that they want me to. And it has just given me so much freedom. It's just a much better way to live. So, this whole series on emotions, I hope that it has shown you that you are the one in charge of your emotions, not your spouse, not your job, not your kids, not even the difficult circumstances, because we all have them. We all go through periods of our life that feel hard and that bring up hard emotions. And that doesn't mean that we're even necessarily doing anything wrong. It just means we're humans and we're living our human life. And I think the more that we can embrace that, the more positive emotion we actually get to feel. The more we allow the negative, the more positive emotion we get to feel, the more agency we get over our emotional lives. Instead of making ourselves wrong for the negative emotions, we just allow it, we just process it, we let it move through us. We find, like last week's podcast, we find great ways to process the emotion. And then we move on creating the life we want. And when we get really good at this, you guys, you can seriously create anything in your life you want, because what is standing between you and the life you really want is probably some kind of discomfort zone, is probably some kind of feeling uncomfortable enough to be courageous, to go try the thing, to stop people pleasing, to acknowledge yourself, to acknowledge your own emotions. It really will free you up to create a life that you love so much. And I think I mentioned this in one of the episodes about this, but really I look at this life as such a gift. Like, I am sitting here right now. It is 6:30 in the morning and I'm looking out over this gorgeous lake. My heart is so full from the life that I've been given. The last week has been magical. It feels like every day is magical, but I know that it's like that because that's the way I choose to see it. Because I also know that there are people who probably have my exact life who don't see it that way and who don't experience the joy that I have allowed myself to just receive. I believe it's there for all of us. And when and my coach referred to it like this, like joy what we really want, what we were really created for, and what we want to experience in this life is always there. It's like the sun. And I love the metaphor because in my faith, um, it is the sun. It is the Son of God, Christ, is always there providing us with everything we need. And sometimes clouds come and go. Sometimes life is hard and it can feel like it's obscuring the sun, but just realize that that joy, the sun is always there and we can always just receive the gifts that he gives to us. And there are so many of them all the time, every single day. And even when the clouds are there, we can just believe, like, oh, I know the sun is there. And it's not always going to be raining like this, or it's not always going to be cloudy like this. And we can just hold on to the faith that the sun's going to come up again. I'm watching it come up as we speak. And I think if we learn how to do that in our own lives, it frees us up to create exactly what we want. It frees us up for way more joy. It's always optional how we choose to respond to whatever is happening to us, to whatever is happening in our relationships. Um, it's so funny because yesterday, Tom was having a complete meltdown and having a rough day. And Stevie and I were talking about it. I'm like, and I was off with the family, and Tom wanted to come go wakeboarding, so he didn't end up going with me. And then he regretted his decision. And I'm like, just let him regret it. Just let him have all these big emotions. Just hold space for the emotions. Just let him have the meltdown. And it's so funny because he kept calling me to, you know, want me to like, he wanted me to know how miserable he was. And I'm like, I know, buddy, it's so hard. Yes, I know. And I was just letting him vent, letting him vent, letting him vent. And then he pretty soon runs out of venting. And I think that we forget kids are so good at this. What we would have done as adults in that situation is like pretended to be okay, but not really be okay. And then all of that pent up emotion then ends up coming out, in a backwards way. When we would just allow ourselves to be frustrated, allow ourselves to be disappointed, get it out in whatever healthier ways we can. And then what's available then is just joy. What's available then is just this deep down sense that all is well. And that really is a belief. It's a belief that no matter what happens, God is for you, he loves you, all is well. A deep down sense that all is well. That's why we called this podcast House of Joy. I want you to learn to believe that all is well deep down. And I think for all of us, this is a practice. I love that scripture that says, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. I believe that all is well, but I kind of don't believe it. And that's just the human part of us. That's the part of our brain that wants to find everything negative, the part of our brain that's always searching our environment for what's unsafe and what's wrong. And understanding that that part of our brain is always going to be there, but we also always have the choice to just believe deep down that all is well. And I cannot tell you how it has shifted the experience of my own life as I practice this. It's a practice. It's every day recommitting to believing that all is well and receiving the gifts every day that God gives. Every single day. Every single thing. I just look around and go, gift, 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 gift. It's all a gift. And the more we learn to live like that and discipline ourselves to live like that, the more we really truly enjoy our lives, the more effective we are in our lives, the more we enjoy our relationships instead of expecting that other people should be a different way or they should act a certain way or do a certain way or whatever. Just really learning that the only person I can ever control is me and my own thinking and my own emotions and my own actions. And the more I do that, the more I change. But honestly, if you really, really, really want someone else to change, work on yourself first and then just watch all of your relationships change right in front of your eyes. And that has been one of the greatest gifts that I've given myself over the past 10 years. It's been one of the greatest gifts of midlife. I really do believe I'm 54 years old. I really do believe that all my best years are still ahead. I think we get to this point when we're in this transition and we're struggling with this emotional stuff and we're struggling with relationships and we're struggling with just our self confidence and wondering, okay, what next? What am I supposed to do in the world? I think so often when we're in that period, it can look like, oh, my best days must be behind me. No, listen, if you're younger than me, I promise you the best ones are still ahead of you. And even if you're older than me, your best days are still ahead because you still get to be the one who is creating your life, and you're creating it in your mind first. You're creating it with your perspective, with your beliefs, with your thoughts, because as you think and believe those things, you will take action to make those things come true. You have so much control and power. There's lots of things you don't have control of, but how you respond and how you believe and how you create your emotional life and how you create emotional wealth for yourself, how you create more joy in your life by just receiving the gifts that God gives is always in your control. So I hope that this series has been a blessing to you. I hope you realize that you can design your life. One of the things that I love to tell my clients is create your best version of you. Some of you think, like, oh, I loved myself when I was in my 30s. Yeah, but you can create the best version of you now. You can create your favorite version of you now. And you have so much more wisdom now. You have so much more life that you've lived. And so just decide that your best days are ahead. Just decide to live from your future. One of the things that I teach my clients to do is to create 90-day goals. And we do that so that we can have our brains looking forward to something positive, so that we can give our minds something to do. Because if you don't give your mind something to do, it will invent all kinds of problems. You will overinvest yourself in other people's lives. You will spend 3 hours on the internet researching some kind of stuff that doesn't even matter. You will get overly invested in Hollywood gossip or your hometown gossip or whatever. Your brain will find something to obsess about. So it might as well be something that you'd be so proud of in 90 days if you created, if whatever it is for yourself. If you decided, like, oh, I want to get in a little better shape, I want to start weight training, I want to start walking more, maybe you want to start experiencing more joy in your life. That could be a daily discipline. Maybe you want to create some financial success for yourself in the next 90 days. You literally can do anything. And I think giving your brain something to think about helps you create the emotions that you will have to create in order to do that thing. Sometimes those emotions will feel a little uncomfortable because courage to do the thing you've been wanting to do, to dream the dreams that you've been dreaming, sometimes that courage does feel uncomfortable. And all of this whole series of podcasts on emotions, as you practice what we've talked about here, you will then have the skills to cultivate the courage to do what you really want to do with your life, to create in the next half of life what you really want to create. So I encourage you and challenge you to just decide that your best days are ahead. Decide that you get to think anything you want to in this life and you're going to make it count. That you get to create the emotions you want to create, that you get to create emotional wealth, that you don't have to stay in the negative emotions that inevitably come with the way we think about life, that you can just decide, no, I want to experience more joy. I want to experience more fun. I say this all the time to my clients, you guys, but listen, we have a serious shortage of fun. Most people do. And yesterday, when we were playing pickleball with my family, we were laughing so hard. And experiences like that remind me that that is what it's about. It's about being with the people you love, connecting with them, having so much fun, those real, genuine relationships that we can cultivate. We were outside, the sun was shining. It was just so beautiful. And so just decide for yourself that this is going to be an adventure. This is going to be fun. I'm going to really enjoy creating my emotional life on purpose. I'm going to really enjoy allowing all of these emotions, all the anxiety, all the frustration, all the negativity that wants to come. Just allow it, process it, and then get on with the business of receiving the joy that is yours. Because I promise you, it's there for you. It's yours. God created you to experience it. It's a gift from Him. All you have to do is allow it and receive it. And I know I say all you have to do. You do have to cultivate it. You do have to discipline yourself to experience it. But I challenge you to do that. And as you do, your life will open up. You will enjoy it so much more. Your relationships will feel so much more enriching. You'll enjoy the people in your life so much more. And in my own life, it has just been the gift that keeps on giving. If I've done anything over the last 10 years, and I've done some really amazing things, I think the thing that I've done that has changed my life the most is this emotional work. So, if this is your first podcast that you're catching on this, go listen to the whole series. It won't take you that long, and truly commit yourself to cultivating the emotional life that you really want to have. Commit yourself to joy on purpose, and your life will get exponentially better. Not that the external circumstances will get exponentially better, but that your experience of your own life will change radically. All right. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I can't wait to see you next time. Love you so much. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you enjoy these episodes, I would love if you would follow us, if you would give us a rating, a review on the podcast. It helps other amazing people like you find it. And we love serving you so much. If you have ideas for us for future podcasts, you can leave that in the reviews. We read those and take those to heart. Follow us on our House of Joy Instagram, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.